Hey, this is Adam from Blue Line. We get a ton of questions about leaders. That's hands down the most popular topic that we get asked about. But even so, we get asked the most about nymph leaders. So today we wanted to show you a whole video on how we tie a nymph rig. There's a ton of different ways to do it. Everyone has their own style, but this is what I've used. This is what I used when I was guiding for a long time, and it works for me. Hopefully it'll work for you guys. So we're going to start out with our nymph leader. This is one of the Blue Line nymph leaders. I've been tying this leader for a really long time, way long before we put it on our website. But we've got a loop on one end, so of course that's going to fit onto your fly line on this end. It's going to come down as one level line. I've got a blood knot in it to a different line so that it's tapered. So it's a knotted, tapered leader. That's the only knot in it though, and we do put UV cure over it so it's nice and strong, but also keeps it able to move in the water a little better. All the way down to a swivel. So there's a couple different butt sections you can use. I just like this butt section, but just take any sort of tapered leader and tie a swivel on the end of it. That's all you need to know for the first part. So from the swivel, we're going to add on tippet. We're going to start out tying on a rubber legs. We just did another video where we tied a rubber legs. You can find that here. If you don't know how to tie a rubber legs, click that for a quick tutorial on how to tie one. So I've got some 3X tippet. When I'm fishing larger nymphs like this, I like to run some thicker tippet. So pretty simple. We're just going to take some 3X tippet and tie it with a clinch knot, the same knot that you use to tie on your flies with, to this tippet or to this swivel. So as you got your 3X tied on, we're going to come down and tie on our first fly. So we're just going to thread it through, tie it with a clinch knot. And I like, when I'm fishing a really heavy fly like this, there's two different ways you can do it. If I'm going to use it as a point fly, these are really heavy. They have a lot of weight built into them, and you can use it as a point fly to help you sink your fly rig. And that works great. For this one, I'm going to tie it on, and then I'm going to tie a tail as a trailer off of it with a smaller fly. I also like to do that as well. If this thing's going to sink really heavy, we're also going to get some weight in this line, and then we're going to have a tag end to this trailer midge coming back behind it. Try both. Let us know what works. This is my favorite one. If I'm going to fish a light fly, instead of using the point fly to pull it down, I like to have the point fly and then the trailer be that midge. One of the other reasons I like that is because I can taper my rig from a really thick tippet to my stonefly, then use a trailer hook to a thinner leader material. If you were to tie, say, a midge somewhere on the middle of this line, since midges are small, you'd want to use a smaller tippet. So you wouldn't want to have your leader go from thick to thin and then back to thick to be able to cast this stonefly. So this way is going to let you really cast this easy. Plus it's still going to help sink that midge down to the bottom. So we've got our swivel to a length of line. Whatever length of line you use is just going to depend on how deep the water is. So if you're fishing really deep water, you may want to kind of bump this up a little bit. So next I've got my section of 4X tippet, and we're going to use that to tie our dropper on. So we're going to create a loop in this line, thread it on the hook, and I like the bigger flies too because you can spin them. I just kind of take my thumb and hold it over the point. And finish off that clinch knot that way. So that's about how long I'm going to do my droppers. Last, I'm going to take my small dropper fly, tie it on with a clinch knot. And there we go. So I like this leader portion to the swivel. Somewhere in here is where you're going to put your bobber. So I've got a bobber here that we can use for demonstration purposes. So there's a couple different sayings that I've heard. Try to get your bobbers maybe like the depth of the river and a half. So I've heard that some different sayings. You definitely want your nymph rigs running deep. Most of the time that you see people not catching fish, that's the reason. So make sure you're getting your nymph rigs deep enough. Make sure if you're not getting hung up every once in a while, you're not deep enough. So we've got our bobber here. We're going to put that on. So this would be extremely shallow, but just for demonstration point for you guys, wanted to kind of run through the scenario what I would do. A lot of people ask me where the weight would go. I like to put my weight on this stretch above the first fly. This fly is already weighted. We get another weight in here. That's going to pull it down. And a lot of my smaller nymphs, even if they have a little bead head or anything on them, are not going to be that heavy. So in reality, this thing's going to be bumping on the bottom, where this is going to be dragging just slightly behind it. So that's a great technique that we like to use. And I've got some BB. I do like to fish bigger water, and I definitely like to have some heavier shot so that I can get these deep. Just slide that in and pinch it on with some hemos. So we have our first fly, stone fly, with the weight to really help it get deep, with the trailer behind on some thinner tippet. So I've been fishing a lot of these big stone flies recently, but even if this same technique works, even if you're using some pretty small nymphs as well, you don't have to be using this. Also using this for demonstration purposes because we knew you guys could see it well. But even if you're using two nymphs of small nymphs like 12 and unders, still works. I still like to taper it though. If I'm doing whatever fly I have larger, I like to put first and then have a tag end coming off of it. Even if I have two flies that are like, under 12 or 14s, I still like to have the bigger fly first, and then I can do a smaller tippet to tag end below it. And if you really need to get things deep, you can still put a split shot above and below the first fly to really help get everything down. Well, hopefully you guys found that helpful. If you have any questions, comments about this, please leave them in the comment section. We'll try to get back with those. Check out our next video where we teach you how to cast this rig. That one's going to be linked right here. And if you haven't, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. If you like seeing these videos, if you want to support us to make more videos, please like and subscribe on our channel. That really helps us out. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in the next video.